Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our collective gratitude at the lotus feet of our dear Sadguru, Sri Madhusudan Sai. Respected elders, revered guests, all brothers and sisters, and those joining us live, Sai Ram and a very good evening. We welcome the dignitaries on stage, Sri Shivaprakasha Desika Paramacharya Swamigal, Head of Trichy Adinam, Sri Tambiran Swamiji from Dharmapuram Adinam, Justice Sri G.R. Swaminathan, Senior Judge, Madras High Court, Madurai Bench. On this fourth day of Navaratri, the Divine Mother is revered in the manifestation of Ma Kushmanda. The term Ku denotes small, Ushma signifies energy, and Anda represents the cosmic egg. Depicted with 8 hands and riding a lion, she is regarded as the source of all creation. The entire universe has emerged from her essence, and it is her energy that illuminates the sun, making her the ultimate source of energy and light. She opens the doors to great respect, fame, and glory, and helps her devotees attain spiritual enlightenment. We shall begin today's proceedings with the Vedic invocation by the Vatus of Veda Gurukulam, and they shall be chanting Manyu Suktam.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Tvaya amanya sharata marujanto harshamana sodrushita marutvaha. Digmeshava ayudha samshishana abhiprayantu naro agniro upah. Agnireva manyotvishitas sahasvasenanirnas sahure hutaye edhi. Hatvaya shatrun vibhajasva veda ojo mimano vimruto onudasva. Sahasvamanyo abhimaadimasme rujan vrunan pramrunan prehi shatrun. Ugrante pajo nanvaru rudreva shivashan nayasa ekajatvam. Eko bahunamasi manyapidito visham vishayyudaye samshishadhi. Akrittarutvaya ayujavayantyamantang ghosham vijayaya krunmahe. Vijeshakritindra ivanavabravo. Osmakam manyo adipabhaveha. Vriyante nama sahure krunimasi vidmatamuchayata abhaputa. Abhutya sahaja vajrasaya kasaho bivarsha vibhuta uttaram. Kratva ano manyo sahamedye edi mahadanasya puruhuta samsruji. Samsrushtandanamubhayam samakrutamasmabhyam dattam varunascha manyoho. Bhiyandada anahridayeshu shatravah parajitaso apanilayantam. Dhanvana gadhanvana jinjaye madhanvana tivra samado ojayema. Dhanushshatru uravakamam krunoti dhanvana sarva pradisho ojayema. Shanta prithvi shivamantariksham dyaurno devyabhayanno astu. Shivadishah pradisha uddisho na apo vishvatah paripantu sarvatah shanti shantirme astu shantihi. Harihi Om.
As part of the morning rituals, the Ramataraka Homa, Anjaneya Homa, and Sai Gayatri Japapurasara Homa were conducted today. The Ramataraka Homa is a revered ritual that provides spiritual protection and guidance. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama is a sacred mantra that purifies the mind and grants moksha. It is called Taraka Mantra because it acts as a bridge that helps us cross over the cycle of birth and death. Anjaneya Homa is conducted to promote holistic health and well-being. Hanuman is regarded as one of the greatest bhaktas, and it was his bhakti that gave him Shakti and Yukti. By invoking Hanuman's energy, we will be blessed with physical strength, efficiency, and devotion to God. Sai Gayatri Mantra confers Guru's Anugraha and spiritual wisdom, and this homam is performed for the sake of Loka Kalyana. This morning, we had many guests who were present for the puja. Shri Vishweshwar Hegde Kageri, Member of Parliament representing Uttara Kannada constituency, expressed that he felt very blessed to be here and appreciated all the work that Sadhguru has undertaken. He also spoke at length about Sanathana Dharma and the need to protect it. Sri Vijay Shankar, the Honorable Governor of Meghalaya, expressed his gratitude to Sadhguru for nurturing and protecting the culture of Bharat. He also expressed that Sathya Sai Grama is nothing less than a heaven, and the success of this institution is because of the selflessness that is taught and practiced by Sadhguru. Sadhguru, in his discourse, said that Rama Rajya was possible not only because of Rama alone, but because the Praja also followed Dharma. He said that work should be regarded as worship, and one must follow one's Dharma with sincerity and dedication for Rama Rajya to get established. He spoke about how Sanatana Dharma is gaining more acceptance and respect in the recent times and advised us all to propagate it not by preaching but by practicing. The morning session concluded with Durga Arati by the priests from Kolkata and Mangala Arati. This evening, we request Justice Sri G.R. Swaminathan Ji to address us all. He began his practice in 1991 and continued in many places such as Puducherry and Madurai. In 2019, he was appointed as the permanent judge of Madras High Court. Sri Swaminathan Ji, please.
My humble pranams and salutations at the holy feet of Sri Sai Madhusudan Maharaji, and my greetings to everyone present here. I am a judge. I have authored over 70,000 orders, but I am not a speaker. I am not an orator. Morning, our Vice Chancellor, Sri Narasimhamurthy Ji, the way he spoke, I was floored. I can't speak like him. But there is another reason for my hesitation. Today in Hindu Sunday magazine, there is an article, a long detailed article on boomer uncles. Who is a boomer uncle? Anybody who is in his late 50s is a boomer uncle. And I am in my late 50s, therefore I am a boomer uncle. A boomer uncle, he would want only status quo. They say he suffers from a cognitive rigidity, which means he can't adapt to new ideas or offer new perspectives. And in that article, there's a long chart sheet. They say they cling on to the old ideas, etc., etc., etc. But here, I want to sound authentic. I don't mind being a boomer uncle. Friends, all of us, we want two things in life. One is mental happiness and another is success in life. Only these two all of us want. But to achieve these two things, we need to slog really hard. We have to go on the straight path. there will be too many distractions. For the youngsters here, I'm saying, what are those distractions? It can be drugs, it can be pornography, it can be illegitimate desires, it can be liquor addiction, it can be gambling, it can be anything. If we should not fall into those black hole traps, what is the insurance? What is the guarantee? Only by sticking to Sanatana Dharma, we can escape from all this. And there is no other solution. And that is what, and in fact, let me cite from the life of Lokanayak Jayaprakash Narayan. He was a highly read person. He got his higher education in America. And he was a pakka Marxist. One day a question arose in him. Why should I be good? And to that question, he could not find an answer in material philosophy. He got the answer only in Bhagavad Gita. And that transformed him completely. And that is what our Sadhguru Maharaj keeps on saying. In fact, I grew up studying the works of Swami Vivekananda. It was he who combined spirituality with service to humanity. And I see Swami Vivekananda in our Sadhguru Maharaj. And I say this from my heart. And from morning I have been here, two things really impressed me. I saw one volunteer just walking up here and there, simply straightening the carpets so that there is no undulation, there is no wavy, so nobody will trip. See, this is what is perfection, excellence in the minutest things of life. And I strongly believe, and that excellence is percolated in each and everyone here only because of Sadhguru Maharaj. And everything is going in a clockwise precision. What should do? Everything. From the food to seating arrangement, everything. I am not joking. I wish our Indian judiciary functions with 1% of this efficiency of this mission. I feel blessed to be in the presence of Maharaj and amidst all of you. And I'll be returning tomorrow afternoon. And when I return, I'll go back with a renewed, charged energy that will keep me always on the straight path. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for joining us today and for your kind words. We now extend a token of gratitude to Sri Swaminathan ji. May we now request Sri B.N. Narasimhamurthy sir, Chancellor, Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, to address us.
Dearest Sadhguru, pranams to Sri Tiruchi Adinam and Tambiran Swamigal. My hearty congratulations to Justice G.R. Swaminathan. I would like to tell you that the judge, the High Court judge, told us a lie today. He is an orator. After having heard him, why would you think that he is an orator? If he thinks that he is not an orator, it is the sign of his humility. Therefore, it is another feather in his cap: oratory, humility, sincerity, appreciation for good things in life, and uttering the truth without hesitating. The truth that he uttered was, the lie that he uttered, I have already told. The truth that he uttered was, if Indian judiciary can cultivate 1% of the excellence in action, yoga karmasu kaushalam, that is the motto of our university, which is motivated here only by everyone's love and devotion to Swami and nothing else. If even 6th class students are so disciplined, so loving, they absorb the holiness, the sacredness of the Navaratri Homa. The reason is their love for Swami. If the volunteers who work here so selflessly see to it that everything is spick and span, it is because of their love for Swami. If the university students here, you ask any one of them, this is what I told the governor this morning when he was in the August presence, holy presence of Swami, after the function. You ask any of our students, right from 6th class, right up to university students, what do you want to do in your life? All of them will say, I will just do whatever Swami says. It is not only students, all of us. We are what we are here today because of our love for Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. And all perfection emanates from him. If the governor observed this morning very sincerely, if there is a heaven on earth, this is the heaven on earth, I would say there was no exaggeration. It is true. Here I recall the profound wise words of Maharshi Vyasa to Dharmaraja in his last meeting with Dharmaraja on this earth. All of us know that the life of the 5 Pandavas, along with their consort Draupadi, was a complete tragedy towards the end. The news of Lord Krishna's physical exit from the world was brought by Arjuna to Hastinavati. When he returned, because those days there were no mobile phones, there were no TV news, radio news, nobody had come to know in the whole of Hastinavati that Lord Krishna had shed his mortal coil. We just came and broke the news. Immediately Draupadi dropped her mortal body. She passed away immediately. Because all of us know a devotee like Kunti is very, very hard to find. Very, very hard to find. When Krishna told her, Mother, I will give you whatever you want. You believe that I am omnipotent. You believe that I am Lord Vishnu. It's the truth. I am giving a word to you, whatever you ask, I shall grant you. What would you and I ask? She prayed, Lord, grant me always difficulties in life and nothing else I want. Why? Only in difficult times I think of you. Otherwise I would forget you. Therefore don't grant me happy days. Grant me always difficult days. And therefore we all can easily conclude that for Kunti, Krishna was her life. A literal statement. Krishna, for both Kunti and Draupadi, Krishna was their life. Krishna considered Kunti as his own mother and Draupadi as his own sister. In fact, it is written in the Bhagavatam that Krishna, when he left his body, being shot by the hunter in his foot, Aswastha manaha yayau. Aswastha manaha yayau, writes Maharshi Vyasa. Krishna left his body unhappily, with a disturbed mind. And he gives the reason. Because last one Krishna remembered before leaving this mortal coil was Draupadi. He felt that he did not do justice to Draupadi, Draupadi's devotion to him. All the way through, she passed through so many troubles, travails, and humiliations. Mark the love of God for his devotee. He was the one when everybody had given up. He was the one who saved the honor of Draupadi. But in spite of that, he felt, I did not do justice. With that thought, his mind was disturbed, and that's when he left the body. This is what Maharshi Vyasa records in the Bhagavatam and also in Harivamsha. And such a devotee. And she left the body. And Draupadi swooned, fell down. And the Pandavas started crying. And then Dharmaraja remembered he had a boon. The boon was given by his grandfather, Maharshi Vyasa. He had told him, in your difficult times, whenever you think of me, whenever you want me, I will come to you and guide you. See, that is when he thought of Maharshi Vyasa, and Maharshi Vyasa promptly appeared there. And Dharmaraja bemoaned, he lamented. We have no reason to live in this world. Krishna is gone. And Kali age, Kali Yuga has entered this world. We are getting reports from all over the country that you might be knowing that Dharmaraja ruled over the kingdom for 36 years after the battle. First 10 years, everything went on well. And then started the troubles. There was a moral degradation in the people because of the entry of the Kali Purusha. And his own subjects started praising Duryodhana, started praising Karna, and started belittling Dharmaraja and the Pandavas. All kinds of immorality started appearing in his kingdom. Therefore, he said, Krishna is gone, and there is nothing for us to live in this world. What do we do, Maharshi? And Maharshi said, yes, it is time for you to go. You walk out of the kingdom and you coronate, before walking out, coronate your grandson Parikshit. But Dharmaraja lamented, Parikshit is a very small boy. And in the country, so much of sin is being committed by my own subjects because of the Kali age. And how would he manage the kingdom? Then he said, these words he spoke, Kalau krutayugam tasya kalistasya krute yuge yasya chetasi govindo hrudaye yasya nachutaha. See, Dharmaraja, I do understand that the 4 ages, 4 eras, 4 yugas are classified as Kruta Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And now Kali Yuga has entered. There is no doubt about it. It is also well known that to practice Dharma is easiest in Kruta Yuga and most difficult in Kali Yuga. All kinds of sins are committed by the people in the world in Kali Yuga. I do understand that. But the truth is, there is another way of looking at these yugas. A person, individual, can transform, change Kali Yuga into Kruta Yuga and Kruta Yuga into Kali Yuga. How is it? Kalau Kruta Yugam Tasya. For him, it is Kruta Yuga in Kali Yuga. How is it? Yasya chetasi govindo. When a person installs with all love and devotion the Lord, Krishna in his heart, for him it is Kruta Yuga. How is it Kali Yuga for him? Because he always takes joy in singing the glory of God. Whatever happens in his life, he will accept it as God's gift. He is always happy. Why do you say it is Kali Yuga for him? It is Kruta Yuga for him. For Hiranyakashipa, who lived during the Kruta Yuga, was it Kruta Yuga for him? It was Kali Yuga for him. Therefore, Kali Yuga can become Kruta Yuga, and Kruta Yuga can become Kali Yuga. Hrudaye yasya na achyutaha. When God is not there in the heart, the Kruta Yuga becomes Kali Yuga. The truth is, I would like to tell the justice, Kali Yuga has become Kruta Yuga in Sathya Sai Grama, Muddenahalli. That is why Governor found heaven on earth. Everybody's heart, all the residents, the devotees, the students and teachers, each and every one of them is motivated by their love for Sadguru. If they conduct righteously, the reason motivation is they don't want to hurt Sadguru. They don't want to hurt Sadguru by their misdemeanor, by their misdeeds, by their wrong words. Therefore, Kruta Yuga is there today, and all that has to happen is the boundaries have to extend. Everybody is happy. Who is not happy here? You ask anyone. Food is free. Anybody can walk into the food court and eat their food without paying a single pie. And such wonderful daily sacred routine like the one that we are experiencing here today, and there is no reason for unhappiness. And people have found a direction in life. If the world is unhappy today, people outside in the world are unhappy today because they don't have a direction in life. To each and every one of us, Sadguru has given a direction. We know that the purpose of our life is to experience divinity within our own hearts. And as long as we are alive, we want to serve others. We want to help others. We want to wipe the tears of those who suffer. Bida sadalakaina penubada taliginchi lemine bapute premanak. This was one of the mission statements of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba when he was hardly 20 years old. One of the 4 mission statements. The first love for me is to provide to the poor people what they lack and relieve them of their suffering. And when Sadguru has accepted that as the mission of his life, the mission statement of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba is the mission of Sadguru Sri Madhusudan. Because day in and day out, I observe Sadguru working so hard, struggling to provide food to all his children in the form of students, thousands of them, clothing to them, education to them, and right kind of direction to their lives. The greatest joy for Baba I had seen in my 40 years of life with him were the students. The cause of his deepest anguish were also students. When students did not conduct themselves well, I've seen Baba, once he was eating food, someone came and said something about a student. He was halfway through his lunch. He washed his hands and walked off. The story is not different with Sadhguru. Why I am telling this, especially students? You can give great joy to Sadhguru. Why should we not when he is doing everything for us? Both material and spiritual. He is giving everything to us. Why should we not? Therefore, we should also not commit anything, do anything which will hurt him. That should be the mission of your life as students. And what does he want for himself? Has he asked you for anything? He has never asked for anything. All that he wants is you find your liberation in your life, your emancipation in your life. Wipe the tears of the downtrodden, the poor people. They lack so much. Serve them. All that he wants you to do is this. The heaven will remain a heaven. In fact, each and every one of you will be taking this heaven anywhere you go if you just obey his words and practice his teachings. Wherever you go, heaven will follow you. The heaven which rules Sathya Sai Grama today will follow you wherever you go if you keep your devotion like what you are having today to Sadhguru and dedication to his mission. The heaven will follow, and that is the dream of Sadhguru. That is the vision of Sadhguru, that my children, my boys, my girls will take this heaven to every corner of the world so that the world itself will become a heaven. With these words, I conclude and pray to Sadhguru for his benedictory discourse. Thank you, Sai Ram.
You must have seen the Durga Puja setting. It's modeled around the ancestral home of Rabindranath Tagore, a great luminary, thinker, philosopher, poet, and cultural reformer of the country. And one of his poems that I learned quite early, now we have put it up in the medical college library as well, is where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. He thought of a place where knowledge would be free, where it won't be sold and bought for a few petty considerations. And he goes on to say so many things in that poem. And one thing that I remembered when Swaminathanji was talking about perfection and excellence, he says, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Perfection is tireless striving. It's not one day's effort. It's a constant effort to stretch oneself to attain perfection in everything. So Rabindranath Tagore talks about that in this poem too. And when he talks about the people of his age group, that they are all being now, whatever, they're called by different names, but he says there too, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. This dead habit is what he was talking about. We get used to a certain way and we don't want to change. We remain in that status quo. So he challenges that as well, that our stream of reason should not be lost in dead habits. We must be willing to change, adapt, invent, reinvent ourselves according to the times. That is what I talked about when Adinam as well as the Zambiran were there talking yesterday, that spirituality is reinventing itself in service. It's no more strangulated by the dead habits of the old times. And that is what the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi commented during the inauguration of our Fiji hospital. He came online and he said, what Sathya Sai Baba has done is that he has freed religion from rituals and connected it to service. भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा ने आध्यात्म को कर्म कांड से मुक्त करके सेवा भाव से जोड़ दिया है. It's a great reinvention of spirituality and religion. Clear reason should not be lost in dead habits. So we have not lost ourselves in dead habits of old ways. We'll reinvent it as a service organization. Till a while ago, people used to ask, how do you define your organization? We used to earlier say we are a spiritual organization which is also doing service. But then we redefined ourselves now saying we are a service organization based on spirituality. To tell the world that this is the real reason why one should live in this world. And the best part of this poem as it progresses, finally he says, into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. His dream was that there would be a heaven of a country in which people would live. And that heaven would consist of knowledge which is free, where perfection is there, where dead habits are not there, but clear stream of reason flows, and people are kind and nice to each other. He imagined that there will be a country, Bharat, of that kind, which would be a heaven on earth. So when today I was watching that Kolkata, whatever festivities in Rabindranath Tagore's home-like setting, and his poems are there on the walls on both the sides. And then when we heard the governor say what he said, and then now the great orator as judged by Narasimha Murthy, who spoke so well about this idea of excellence and perfection, which is very Indian idea, the yoga karmasu kaushalam. And then I think of this poem. It seems like that thought of Rabindranath Tagore then, which must have come from a pure heart, with clear intentions, with deep prayers for the country and its welfare, is now slowly getting manifested. And this is just the beginning of many great things to come. And we are very fortunate to be not just witness, but part and participants in this great transformative mission. So I think that is what the speakers have pointed, and I really feel that they have understood the very purpose of why we are doing what we are doing over here. Of all the things people ask, what is perfection? For a child, when I walk around in the hall, he draws one tree, one house with some sketch pen, and one himself, and sometimes he draws me also, a caricature of me next to him. It's obviously, it's a child, he can do what he wants, he's free. He doesn't know all these manners, etiquettes, and behavioral requirements, so he just does. And then he shows me. I ask him, who is this? He says, this is me. And who is this? This is you. I'm shocked, of course, but I smile and say, oh, very nice, it's beautiful, and I take it. There is perfection in what it did. The caricature doesn't look like me, nor the child looks like himself, or the house is in proportion, or the tree is correct. Nothing is right in that drawing. Yet it is perfect because it's done with such pure love, such offering, such submission to the divine. He only wants to draw the attention and get some blessings, and wants to offer his labor of love to me. So this act is perfect. The same thing if a 12th class boy does, he's going to get it left, right, center from me. Makes a cartoon of me in the name of art. Because that's not well intended. So perfection is very subjective to one's intentions, according to me. More than action, intention is perfection. But of course, action must follow. Just intention is not enough. A doctor intends to cure the patient but has no clinical skills. He is not going to save that patient. So he needs skills also. So intention is the first thing. With what intention you want to do what you want to do. Second, you should have the knowledge and abilities of what you have to do. A doctor must know how to do the surgery, what are the ways to do it. And third, he should have this strength to do it. If doctor himself is a patient, halfway through the surgery, he gets a heart attack looking at the patient's heart not working. We are done with the surgery then and there. Instead of 1, 2 will die in the theater. So strength, vitality, vigor. This is what Lalita Sahasranaram describes the mother as Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti Swarupini. She is the embodiment of all these 3 kinds of energies. Ichha Shakti, intention. The intention is not to just fulfill one's desires and progress in life and become something. That's a very low desire, very low Ichha Shakti. Selfish Ichha Shakti, it's no good. When selfless Ichha Shakti happens, when you pray for the welfare of all, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah you say, and you work for the welfare of all. But how to work? Jnana Shakti. That is where Mother Saraswati comes into picture. She gives us the right kind of wisdom to do the things, like doctor needs to have certain skills to perform a surgery. Just the intention to save the patient is not enough. But that's the first step. Why should doctor do the surgery? 1, to make his money, to get his salary, to some corporate hospital finish his targets. But in general, to save the patient and give him a better life. So intention should be good. And also, if he does it as an offering to God, the same thing gets elevated to worship. Work becomes worship. So that is the Ichha Shakti, represented by Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi. Then Jnana Shakti, you need to know how to do it. You need to have abilities, mental abilities, and that knowledge comes from Mother Saraswati as the second form of the Mother Goddess. And third is, of course, you need to have the strength to do it, the willpower, the physical strength, and whatever you require, you must summon it to do, and that comes from Durga. She is the Kriya Shakti. And when all the 3 Shaktis come together, that is perfection. Even if one is missing, perfection cannot be attained. Your Ichha Shakti, your Jnana Shakti, your Kriya Shakti, all 3 should be there with you. Only then you can attain perfection in life. And I am very particular about perfection. Perfection, again, as I said, I look at the intention as the most important thing, but then I also look at their abilities. That child's ability is only to draw a line with 4 legs and hands or whatever. That's fine. Its ability is only that. And he has done with all his strength. He did not cut corners, he did not fool around, he did with his best of his abilities. Of course, that is perfection for that child. But if some grown-up does something, he has to do it according to his abilities, his intentions, and his strength. So giving it our very best is perfection. And I read somewhere, it is very, very, it touched my heart. In fact, I tell it often, God loves perfection but tolerates excellence. So if you think I've done something very excellently, but you have not done it perfectly with Ichha, Jnana and Kriya Shakti all put to the best of its abilities, then you have only achieved excellence, which is good. God may tolerate it, but he won't be happy, he won't love it. But if you want to really please God and become dear to God, then you must attain perfection. Perfection by putting your Ichha, Jnana and Kriya Shakti completely at work. You cannot half-intended, half-interested, or you don't give all of your efforts, or you don't use all your knowledge and abilities, your memory and your discrimination, then you are not doing a perfect job. Outcome may be looking the same. Suppose a doctor is not interested in patient's welfare, is interested in money. He does the surgery, patient comes out, patient looks hale and hearty and goes about doing what he has got to do. For the onlooker, it may look like, oh, that's a perfect surgery, but God won't think it is a perfect surgery, because the intention was not good. So intention, knowledge, and the action. Action, this and the strength behind it. All 3 come together, then only perfection happens. This is a formula. So exert yourselves to attain that perfection, because every time you attain perfection, you are getting closer to God. Karma marga is this. Yoga karma sukha vishlam, and they said karma marga is this. You do it to the best of your abilities without worrying about the results. These are results in the sense you're not worrying about what will I get out of it. The results should come. The surgery should be successful. Patient should be happy, hale, hearty, and go. You should have done your best. But what is in it for me is not the consideration. What's in it for the patient? What's in it for the society? What's in it for God? That can be the Ichha Shakti. That you should do. And you should do all the hard work to learn the medicine, whatever knowledge he requires, that is Jnana Shakti. And Kriya Shakti should give his everything. Every cell, every nerve of his body should strain, that you are stretching, its tireless stretching its arms towards perfection. Tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Tireless striving. You get tired doing 2 days of good work, a third day I am done. Enough for this year, this week. No, tirelessly one works towards perfection. So this is the combination which Devi represents. That's why we celebrate all these Devis, because we seek that blessing. Please bless us with that kind of Ichcha Shakti which is well intended. It's for the welfare of all, not for my personal growth and benefit, but for everyone's sake. Give me also the jnana, the buddhi, to learn how to do it right, how to do it well. And let it remain with the tejasvinamadhitamastu. Let it remain in my memory. Let it not fade away after 2 days, 3 days, or 5 days of boredom. Let it remain with me, whatever I have learned. And third thing says Kriya Shakti. Give me the strength, physical strength, to do it, what I have decided to do. No procrastination, no dilly-dallying. You go ahead and do it. So these three coming together is the celebration of Navaratri in a summary. Why we need all these powers? Because we want to attain perfection. And why we want to attain perfection in whatever we do? Because that is what pleases God. And why do you want to please God? Because only then we will have His grace. And why do you want to have God's grace? Because Tinamapi, whatever, without His grace, not a blade of grass moves. So His grace is necessary for us to attain anything, both material as well as spiritual. So this is why we need. So this is why we have to celebrate all these festivities, and you should celebrate with all your heart. So again, when you are chanting, chant with all your heart. There also Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, all three are applicable. So also you are cooking, all three are applicable. You are speaking, all three are applicable. You are setting the carpet right, all three are applicable. Everywhere, in everything, all these three Shaktis are required. And only when these three Shaktis are at their optimal best in you, that's when you attain perfection. And that's when God becomes happy with you and He blesses you with more good. This is what I keep telling our people. Of course, they do a lot of things, as Narasimha said, they do out of love for me, but they also do out of some fear for me. And I know that. But fear is the beginning of love. You fear those, fear what? Fear that I shouldn't be hurt or upset, as he said, because that would be very, very sad for them too. So with that, but sometimes they do, their Ichcha Shakti is good, but then their Jnana Shakti is not so good, or Kriya Shakti is not up to the mark. Then things don't happen the way it's intended, it's supposed to happen. So check where is what is lacking in you, so that you bring it all together and pray to the Mother Goddess. She is the Shakti Swarupini. She is the origin or source of all. The Kushmanda is today's name, right? Kushmanda means, Ku means a small way, in a miniature way. Ushma means warm, Anda means egg. So what is this small warm egg? It is simply, she is the embodiment of this cosmic creation, the cosmic womb, as they say, Hiranyagarbha. So she embodies that, Kushmanda. And very nice name is there in Raja Sahasrama. Unmisha Nimishotpanna Vipanna Bhuvanavali. In her one closing and opening of her eyelids, multiple universes come into existence and disappear also. You will think, oh, this is no logic, there is no timeline, no scale, nothing in this. No. In one wink of her eyes, blink of her eyes, universes, not one universe, universes come into existence and also go out of existence. When she opens her eyes, creation happens, and she closes her eyes, dissolution happens. That is her power. And so you do not think of her as a real woman who is blinking her eyes. The idea is that she is eternal. Her lifespan is forever. In her forever lifespans, you can imagine how many billions and trillions of years must be there. In fact, there is no end, there is no calculation. So, universe coming into existence 5 billion years ago or disappearing after another 5 billion years is just a wink of an eye, that's what it says. For somebody who is the very embodiment of eternity. That is the source of all existence. This is what today's name represents, that cosmic creative energy that she is, because of which everything has come into existence, as they say. So that is a symbolic representation as a mother. Pray to her when you have created, or you are the very embodiment of all creation. You hold with you all these three powers of Ichcha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, which I need for my day-to-day living. Even if I want to eat my food, put it in my mouth, I need all the three powers. If I want to walk from this distance to that distance, I need all the three powers. If I want to listen to the discourse, understand, assimilate, I need all the three powers. Bless me with these powers so that I can do my very best and offer it to you as my little service. Work is worship. And that if everybody starts doing the society, the whole society will attain perfection. That is what I was talking about Ramarajya. Everything was perfect there. And the people were perfect. They were always following dharma. They were never telling lies. They were not greedy. They were happy in their professions. They did not have any qualms about it. They were just giving their best in everything. And all were contented with whatever they had. They never compared and complained. That was Ramarajya. To recreate that Ramarajya, obviously everybody has to become spiritualized. Only then Ramarajya will come. That is why Sanatana Dharma is the solution. Because that teaches us to live a life in accordance with these principles of Dharma. And when the Honorable Judge was speaking, he talked about, the judging or whatever, passing an order, it's tremendous amount of pressure. You see, whatever one stroke of your pen and somebody's life is going to change forever. And every single time you write a verdict, you pass an order, you can imagine the amount of pressure one has to undertake, because it's not about you writing your fate, you're writing the fate of somebody, and later this will become a case which will be quoted in every other case, as it will become it will be used by so many more people. So whatever you do becomes a part of the history. Sitting in a chair like that and passing such orders, whatever small and big as you may think, it's not easy unless you have this ability to put these energies together, your intention to do justice. The greater good should rule the order. How to do that? That is again Jnana Shakti. There are laws, rules, there are so many books. You must understand where does it all fit. It cannot be challenged by anybody later because you did not do enough homework, you did not read enough law. Then Kriya Shakti, the courage and ability to do it. You think it's easy to judge people? And whom are you judging? At least one side will be unlawful of the parties, right? Both can be lawful that you are judging on. One has to be. So naturally you are making enemies every day. Did Rama not make enemy when he passed the verdict, whatever, to say Sita should leave the palace and live in the hermitage of Valmiki? He passed an order, may not be written order, but he told Lakshmana, tomorrow morning before the dawn, please take Mother Sita, put her in your chariot, take her to Sarayu and leave her on the other side. There is one ashram of Valmiki, she will be there. Lakshmana had to just obey the order. He did that. But after that, how much backlash till date, especially this side of the hall. Why Rama did this? How fair is it? She was right. Did Rama not know that she was right? Why did he? All kinds of questions. But then I tell them, two words you remember, greater good. Greater good is the reason why Rama does whatever he does. He can sacrifice one Sita for the sake of so many people's peace and prosperity and harmony in the society. That is again a great ability to discriminate and decide like this. And unless you have the grace of God, you cannot be a good judge. Because every verdict, every order, everything that comes out of that pen becomes part of the history and becomes the new norm, becomes a new standard. And therefore they have to be so careful. So these are very difficult professions. But when you are guided by Dharma, guided by God, you will always do the right things. Some people may not like it because they don't understand why it is right or not right. They have their selfish and narrow-minded ideologies, intentions. Irrespective of that, you have to do what is right. That courage, Kriya Shakti, that courage should come to you to do. Durga only can give that courage to do the right thing against all adversities, against all kind of obstructions and resistance. She'll still do the right. That is what he said. Dharma is to do the right thing. Dharma is not a religion. Dharma is the way of life. And what is the way of life? To do the right thing. Then why do we need gods and rituals? Because they give us the strength to do the right things. They give us the intention to do the right thing. They give us the knowledge to do the right thing. They give us the courage to do the right things. That's why all these worships and things are there. So when you are feeling weak in your limbs, when you don't have the courage to follow on your convictions, close your eyes, praise to Mother Durga. Durga, Mother, You are the very embodiment of Kriya Shakti. This intention must be actioned. I should not hesitate from doing it for the sake of some people who do not like it. Because it is right, I must do it. Give me the courage to do it, and you can do it. When you are not clear in what you want to do, pray to Lakshmi. Give me the right understanding of what I have to do. Is it which is right, which is wrong? She'll give you the power to understand. Then you choose the right way of doing things. Then pray to Saraswati. What is the methodology? Like he has to read the law books before he passes an order. He must do it according to the rule book. Then that is the Saraswati part of it. So every action in the world requires the combination of all the three, which is represented by the Navaratri Devis. And we all need her grace in this way to conduct our daily things in life, small or big. Therefore, we should pray that we should have the ability to do this, and pray to Goddess, because prayer is man's strength and God's weakness, as they say. The more you pray intensely, the more you will receive the gifts of grace. And you can create the heaven. As he said, you can take this piece of heaven and plant it somewhere else in the world, and it will grow from there and become another heaven soon. And slowly all these small heavens will come together and make the whole world so heavenly. This is the intention. This is why we are doing what we are doing. Anyway, I just wanted to convey that to you. And one or two questions are there. Some questions are there, they asked me. What questions, Sirka? She's there. I answer some questions, Swamiji. Daily or questions are there. That's my answer. You can also answer if you want some questions.
Swami, how are the 9 forms of Durga relevant to our day-to-day life?
You ask those priests who are sitting there in the Yajnashala. I have explained some of these things. I have explained. The 9 forms are, see, the story goes that she killed a demon by name Mahishasura. He was like a shape-shifting monster. One day he'll become a snake, another day he'll become something, third day he'll become... So finally he became Mahishasura. He was born to an Rakshasa actually. So Mahishi was the Rakshasa, and he was born to that. So he was having a face of he could change into a buffalo, that's what it meant. So this Mahishasura, she came to fight because he was troubling all the Devatas. So all these gods came together, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, and they went to Shakti and told, you only can defeat him because he is shape-shifter. We think we'll kill him this way, he'll change into something else. We try to kill him that way, like some science fiction. So then they all gave her their powers to her. She developed so many hands, means she had so much power. If you have 2 hands, you have so much power. If you have 12 hands, or 10 hands, or 8 hands, so much more power. So that is how she came into existence, and she fought this demon. And they said that she fought for 10 days. It's very difficult to defeat him. He was changing shapes every now and then. But finally, at the end of the 10th day, she defeated him. And that is why we celebrate this period of 10 days in the memory of her effort to redeem us of that Mahishasura's torture and help the Devatas and establish Dharma. So when 10 days you are worshipping, they have come up with some kind of a ritual that how do you worship her for 10 days? Why we remember her only for her valor and fierce courage of a warrior queen. Let us remember her for all other qualities as well. So one day they have picked up one idea and picked up and put a one quality. We start with Shailaputri, which is first time when the Parvati was born to Himavan. So she was born and she is Shailaputri. Shaila means big mountain, and Himalaya was the mountain or mountain king whose daughter she was. But she fell in love with Shiva, and because of the spiritual attraction she had for Shiva. So she went off to seek Shiva, and we saw in that play other day, the dance recital, that she went to attract Shiva with her physical beauty as Shailaputri. She was very fair skinned, Gauri she is called. So she went there to please him by all her beauty, but Shiva was not to be impressed by that. He is Atma, he is Chaitanya Swarupi. What he will do with a bag of bone and flesh? So he was not interested in her. So she tried everything, but she could not gain. So she became Brahmacharini. Brahmacharini means she started thinking of Shiva all the time, performed lot of austerities and penance and things like that. And then as a young girl, she underwent lot of hardships. She gave up all her physical beauty, starved, and ate only little and meditated all the time on Shiva. And that is how she finally won Shiva's heart. Of course, in between that Kamadeva story is there, who tried to get them together, but then Shiva was very upset that you cannot attain me through Kama, only through Bhakti. So she Brahmacharini attained Bhakti. That is the second day we worship. Third day we worship her as Chandraghanta. Chandraghanta is a form of Devi again, who fights basically. Maybe she think like this, she fought all these things within. Her idea of winning Shiva versus the actual way of winning Shiva were two different ideas. But they say she won finally, and Chandraghanta is, a crescent moon is there on her forehead. That is why she is called Chandraghanta, and there is a bell on her forehead. And whenever the bell rings, it seems all the demons run away because they know she is coming. So like, kind of siren or warning call. So Chandraghanta is the next. She became queen, basically consort of Shiva. So she shares the moon with Shiva. And moon also represents the mind. Chandrama manaso jataha, they say. So moon represents mind, means she had control over her mind because of brahmacharya. She developed that control over her mind, therefore she became Chandraghanta. Then she became, today, Kushmanda. She became the creative force. Shiva is thought of as the Chaitanya Shakti, consciousness, as we mentioned yesterday, and she is the Srijana Shakti, who is creative force. So like a mother's womb which creates a baby, likewise she is the mother who gave birth to the whole universe. Brahma Gita Janani. She gave birth to everyone, that's what they say. In the sense, in the symbolic way, don't put everything in a physical way. A symbolic way, she is the creative force. So Kushmanda, so she is called as Kushmanda today. After that, tomorrow she will become Skanda Mata. That is, she gives birth to Skanda, and Skanda again represents all the five senses, the material world basically, Skanda. And then also Skanda is a leader of all the Devatas. He fights wars against the demons. Like all our Panchendriyas, they should be under the control of God. Then only we can fight all the Rarishat Vargas, which are the demons within. So Skanda Mata giving birth to that strength within us to strengthen our senses, to fight the war of Arishat Vargas within. That is represented by Skanda's birth. That is why she is called Skanda Mata. After Skanda grows up and fights the wars, what should she do next? She has to fight her own wars as well, because she is also a warrior queen. Basically, she was born to fight. Shiva is, as I said, the stationary principle, steadiness, Chaitanya Shakti. All that Shiva does is using the power of Shakti. That's why she is half of Shiva, isn't it? We see that Ardhanarishwara form. Half is Shiva, half is Shakti, we say. Shiva is the Chaitanya, Shakti is the creative or the working force. So that is what she becomes, Kalaratri. She destroys the darkness, basically, this darkness of ignorance, darkness of selfishness, darkness of self-interest, and gives us the wisdom of self. So she herself has to, one who has to fight the darkness, must get into the darkness. So her very body, embodiment of darkness, is Kalaratri. She fights that darkness within and without, and that is how, thank you, somebody has put up this board. Now after Kalaratri, see first Katyayani, then Kalaratri. Katyayani is the fighter queen, yes. She is the one who killed the Mahishasura demon, the Katyayani form. And then comes the Kalaratri, which is again fighting the demon. She is on a donkey. Looks like all of us who are donkeys who don't listen, we all need one Kalaratri like her to straighten us all up. So this is Kalaratri, and then comes the Mahagauri, of course. Mahagauri is the purest, serene, divine form of Mother Goddess. Again, it represents purity. In a way, if you look at these three, it sounds like, Katyayani is like the Rajoguna, Kalaratri is like the Tamoguna, Mahagauri is like the Sattvaguna. These three forms also represent these gunas within us. And then, of course, the final thing, the Siddhidatri, who is the bestower of all kinds of boons. What kind of boons? Just now I said Ichcha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, she should offer us. But this is just a way of saying, see, we could have celebrated her in any other 10 different ways also. Over a period of time, the tradition has come like that. Like our Indian thought is to superimpose an idea on anything and then worship it. Because we want a symbol to worship. It's called Pratikopasana. We need something to relate to worship. We cannot relate if you can't worship in abstract space. It's very difficult for people in body and body consciousness to think of some God as an abstract entity. So we try to superimpose the idea onto God. Like we say Bharat Mata. She is not a woman. It's an idea of a feminine mother-like country which looks after us, provides for us, nourishes us. There is no particular woman called Bharat Mata. You don't go out seeking the address of Bharat Mata in Delhi or somewhere. She doesn't stay there in the Parliament House or wherever. She is everywhere. All this is Bharat Mata. The idea is that this is a symbolic representation of that idea that the country is like mother. So, but we have made a form of Bharat Mata. She will be holding a flag, and there is Vani. She is also, because she is very, again warrior. She has fought many battles for herself. So this is the way we show our gods and goddesses. Don't take it too literally and then start looking for them. You may or may not find them that way. Like I remember in Tripura Rahasya, Parshurama is very, very frustrated after he has killed all the Kshatriyas left, right and center to take revenge on his father's death. So finally his mother says, "You are going mad. Calm down. What is this? Throw away this parsa and meditate and calm down." So he doesn't know where to go. So keeps roaming here and there, and then comes across our Avaduta. And then when he comes to this Avaduta, what does he do? He gives him a piece of stone and says, "This is Tripura. Worship her for 9 years and then come back to me." He says like that. So he gives that piece of stone and says, "This is Mother Tripura, you worship her for 9 days. He takes the stone and worships sincerely for 9 years. And after that he comes searching for the Guru again. So the idea is that, is that stone really a mother goddess? No. But the Guru said, this is the energy of mother goddess. He has installed that energy in that stone and given it to Parshurama to worship. And he worships. And then he attains wisdom, they say. Likewise, in temples we have lingam. A lingam does not have hand, legs and nothing like that. We call it Shiva. It's a symbolic representation. The country has a flag. When we put the flag up, the Tiranga, we salute it. But we are not saluting a piece of cloth fluttering in the air. We are saluting the idea of the nation when we salute the flag. Likewise, everything, all these are symbols which are representation of a higher idea in our philosophy. So when you have to celebrate 10 days, what should you do? Every day you pick up one good quality of hers and learn from that. That what can you do for others? See, how can you attain God? From Shailaputri you have to become Brahmacharini. Then only you attain Shiva. Then you become his Ardhangini Chandraghanta. Only then when you are that, are you capable of doing good, because Shiva means do. Shankaroti iti Shankara. So doing good is Kushmanda, doing good to the world, coming out with new projects, new ideas, new ways of serving people. All that is creative power only. And then you have control over your senses and mind, the 6 faces of Shanmukha. You see, 5 senses and 1 mind which sits on top of it. That helps you to fight all your inner demons also. Katyayani, she kills all the external problems. I tell, we also have waged a battle, haven't we, against poverty, against inequality, against gender inequality, against women's issues, against everything, against access to healthcare, against food, nutrition. We have also waged a battle. So Katyayani's strength drives us to fight these battles every day. Narasimha says, we fight a daily battle. That's true. Every day the demon keeps shifting shape. One day it is a nutrition issue, other day is healthcare issue, third day is so many social issues. And we have to keep fighting like Katyayani, Mahishasura Mardini. Like that we keep fighting. And Kalaratri, because it's darkness, she removes the darkness. But to remove the darkness, you have to enter the darkness, isn't it? In a dark room, how will you look? You will also look dark only, isn't it? You will look black, silhouettes like. So that's how Kalaratri, she entered the darkness to fight the darkness. And came out successful. When she removed the darkness, everything became bright. She became Mahagauri. Brought light and wisdom to the whole world. Peace and solace to the whole world. And when she had attained that, she is Siddhidatri, because now she knows how to do it. She can teach you also how to do it. How to fight your inner and outer enemies. How to do good to the world. How to fight the darkness. How to bring light in people's lives. This is Siddhi. That Siddhi she is capable of giving. So we pray to her. This is my cooked up story. But if it helps you, it's fine. The idea is to understand the importance of worshipping a particular thought. This is our Indian idea. We superimpose that idea on everything. And so there's no harm. We are okay to worship anything and everyone as long as we believe that divinity exists and we are able to learn something from it. One day somebody was teasing, they were telling, India has all these cock and bull stories, One demon is there who shifts shape, then one goddess appears from nowhere, then she does this and does that. All kinds of stories you have. Puranas are replete with such stories which are almost fictional. So they say, what kind of stories are these? I told them, see, at least India has some stories. You don't even have that. At least we have. Now, why do we tell stories to children? You tell me. At the end of the story, we say the moral of the story is this. For the sake of the moral, we tell the whole story. Rest all is imagination. So let it be imagination, even if it's not true. But at the end, we are learning something or not. If yes, it helps us. Fair. Go ahead and do what you need to do. Why worry about what others think? So this is my way of looking at how our traditions and rituals are. One question more. Time.
Swami, could you please explain the significance of Gajastambhas in front of temples and the kalashas that we see on top of buildings like our hospitals in accordance with ancient Indian architecture?
Actually, the best person to answer would be these two people next to me, because they are building temples and running temples. I'll give a short summary of what I think, and maybe Swamiji can add to it. See, our temples are what we say in India is Yatha Brahmande Tatha Pindande. So all the Brahmanda is within this body. The whole universe is somehow inside us. See, all the 5 elements are within us. Same 5 elements are outside also. So likewise, everything is relatable to the universe. So our temples are nothing but a replica of that whole universal system. And if you look at, there is a method in Agama Shastras how temples are built. There is a methodology. Shaiva temples are built in certain way. Vishnu temples are built in certain way. Shakti Agamas tell you about temples of, similarly Ganpati Agamas are there, like that Bhairava Agamas. So these Agamas tell us how temple structure should be built for that particular deity. So we all have some preferences, right? Somebody wants a bigger living room, somebody wants a smaller room, some ladies want a larger kitchen, smaller. So all these gods and these energies have certain ways which our rishis have figured it out in their meditations. And they have accessed that knowledge and written in Agama Shastras. Now, in general, if you compare a temple, it is like a human body only if you see. And if you look at the various steps or parts of the temple, you compare it with a human body. The human body, remember we talked about that 7 chakras are there, from Mooladhara to Sahasrara. So temple is also like that. Think of it as a Vastu Purusha, a being. At the very Gopuram you enter, like the feet. You enter, the first thing is Dvajastambham that comes, that represents the Mooladhara chakra, which is the beginning of the spiritual journey. You are entering the sanctum now. From the main gate or the Gopuram, your first thing is you come to the Mooladhara chakra, which where Dvajastambham is standing. Now this stambham is also the representation of that particular deity. Different temples have differently designed stambhas also, which is particular to that deity. Sometimes they put a flag also, sometimes they put deepam, because in the night also people can see that's where the temple is. This is how you enter. These are also the symbolic representations of the presence of that divinity in that place, like national flag is there. And I'm sure like in a government building you see the flag is there, this is a national monument or this is a national building. Like the temples have this particular Dvajastambham. So Mooladhara chakra. Then you enter, the next step is Balipitam you will find. That's why sacrifices were to be made. At some point in time when animal sacrifices were there, human Narabali was also there. But later Adi Shankaracharya did a lot of reforms over there. He removed the idea of this kind of balis. See, remember that time Buddhism spread in India because they went about talking about ahimsa. Whereas in Hinduism, some himsa was going on in terms of bali. So Buddha said, why should we sacrifice animals? Somebody said animals will attain heaven. He said, but the animals don't want to attain heaven. Why are you killing them? Kill yourself instead if you want to attain heaven. So that was Buddha's logic, which worked with a lot of people. And therefore Buddhism spread very fast. So Adi Shankara did good reforms in removing any of these bali. He said, sacrifice your animal qualities. Why are you sacrificing animals? So Bali Pitam is to sacrifice your animal qualities. From Mooladhara is all animal qualities. Swadhisthana, little upgradation has to happen. Sacrifice all your animal qualities, lower instinct. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitunam cha, Samanyametat, Pashubit Naranam. Sacrifice all these animal qualities at Bali Pitam. That is Mooladhara to Swadhisthana. Then you go little up from there, you enter the Mantapam, Upamandapam they call it. The first Mantapam you enter. In Shiva temple, Nandi Mantapam will be there like that. So that you enter, that is the, you are coming Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, and like this Manipuraka you coming to, that is the 3rd chakra. From there you slowly move up, you come to the Mahamantapam, which is the large hall where people sit and worships happen, yajnas happen, yajna kundas are there and all that. So that is the 4th chakra, which is the 4th chakra, Anahat chakra. Then you come to the Rajagopuram, which is Rajamandapam, which is the place where kings were allowed to enter the temple. That is one step before the Sanctum Sanctorum. That you think of it as the Vishuddhi. Then you enter the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is the Garbhagudi. Think of it as the Agneya Chakra, the final, before the opening of your Sahasrara. And the deity itself, which is standing there, it is it with all the, the Kalasham and everything, that Garbhagudi, in which deity resides, that is like the Sahasrara, which is the opening of the spiritual lotus, which is basically a way to represent that our knowledge or dawn of knowledge happens. Blooming of lotus is simply symbolic of saying that you also have become a jnani. These Garbhagudis were the energy centers of all these temples. What idols would do is, when we do prana pratishtha in this idol through certain mantras, we are inviting that energy, invoking that energy from the cosmic energy and concentrating it on that idol. Like if you pass the sun rays through a lens, it all gets focused and becomes very strong in one particular place. It burns the piece of paper or even a leaf. You must have done this experiment in your science class of convergence of rays through a lens. So likewise, these idols were like those energy points which takes all the universe energy. The kalashas have the job of transmitting that cosmic energy through the kalasham into the deity, and the deity will further radiate that energy to whoever comes in its proximity. And that is the idea why these Garbhagudis were so sacred, because you don't want a lot of negativity to come inside. You should be very, very sacred. You should have done all your rituals. You should have purified yourself. That is why certain priests and those were allowed inside the Garbhagudi. Now that became a huge challenge with caste system, saying why everybody is not allowed. My question to them is, why everybody is not allowed inside the operation theatre? You also want to do operation, give me also a knife. We won't give you a knife. You have to be trained to be a doctor, a surgeon. Then you enter the operation theatre. Before that, to scrub, you have to, put all those disinfected clothes. You have to prepare yourselves properly. Then only they will allow you. In operation theatre, you are not allowing people without preparation. Why should you allow inside Garbhagudi is my question. There also you should prepare and come. So the priests have been trained for years in certain rituals, worship that they have to do on a daily basis, keep themselves pure, so that they are able to do the right kind of worships which are as per the Shastras. There is Agama Shastras also have a very detailed way of worshipping every of these things. How to build a temple, what worships should happen, the Jnanapada, Charyapada, all these are there. With that you learn. So these people are trained as priests to perform worships inside the particular sanctum sanctorum. So that is the way temples have been designed in India, with a lot of logic in it. So when you enter a temple, think you are moving spiritually from lower chakras, lower animal ideas to the divine idea. And every step that you get closer to the divinity, you should feel that elevation in your heart too. And I will add one small thing to it. I wrote this article for a newspaper on temple and architecture. And that time a lot of this thing was going on about Sabarimala temple, why people are not allowed, especially women menstruating women are not allowed, and this is gender inequality and things like that. But you think from the point of view of now with this, if you have all these chakras and energy is moving up, for the woman who is in her age, it is detrimental for her health, because all the energy is pushing the total, your energy up from lower chakras to the upper chakras. The Vayus inside are moving up. All the energy is concentrating on your head as you come closer to the temple deity. That is what is the temple meant to do. But for a woman who has to, reproduce or beget progeny, the Vayu has to work the other way. So when you enter in that age to this temple, all your Vayus are going to get totally confused inside your body. And that is going to disturb all your, physiology, all your whatever biology, and that can disturb your cycles. Therefore, they tell this age group you should not enter. You should enter only after you have crossed a certain age, when you are no more in the reproductive age, or before you are into the reproductive age. You can go to the temples, because that time these Vayus don't help so much, because she has a certain way of living. So think of it in this way also. So everything has been designed for a very, very real reason. There are temples where men are also not allowed. There are temples in India too, where only women worship the god and women priests are there and women only manage everything. For that is for another reason. So you have our structure of all these temples are designed very, very scientifically. We may not have everything written down and explained, but if you apply a little logic and reasoning, and more than that, experiential knowledge, when you go inside, how you feel, that's how you know what is that meant for. So this is how these are designed. So that is the significance. Swamiji, you want to add anything to this? Yadun?
குருபாதம். மதுசூதனன் சாய் சத்குரு அவர்களுடைய பரந்துபட்ட அறிவு, த விஸ்டம் ஆஃப் நாலேஜ், ஆகமிக் நாலேஜ், அது என்னை ரொம்ப வியப்படைய செய்த. ஆகமங்களில் என்ன இருக்கோ அதைத்தான் இப்போ சாய் அவர்கள் இங்கே உங்களுக்கு வந்து சொன்னாங்க. சைவத்தில் 28 ஆகமங்கள் கோவில் எப்படி கட்டணும், பூஜை எப்படி பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிறத விளக்கி சொல்லுது. வைஷ்ணவத்தில் 2 ஆகமங்கள். இதில் திருமூலர் 10ஆம் திருமுறையில் உள்ளம் பெருங்கோயில் ஊன் உடம்பு ஆலயம் வள்ளல் பிரானார்க்கு வாய் கோபுரவாசல் தெள்ளத் தெளிந்தார்க்கு சீவன் சிவலிங்கமே கள்ளப்புலனைந்தும் காளா மணி விளக்கே அப்படின்னு ஒரு பாடல் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்கிறார். அந்த பாடலை தான் இவங்க இப்போ எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணி சொன்னாங்க. ஆகமங்களில் ஹியூமன் பாடி இஸ் த டெம்பிள். அந்த துவஜஸ்தம்பம்ங்கிறது மூலாதாரம். நீண்டு இருக்கிற அந்த கம்பம் வந்து ஸ்பைன், அது இங்கே கனெக்ட் ஆகுது. நாம் அங்கே திருவிழா காலங்களில் ஏற்றக்கூடிய அந்த நூல், அந்த கொடி சுற்றி சுற்றி போகும். அப்படி இந்த ஸ்பைனில் வந்து இந்த சுழுமுனை 2 நாடி நம்ம சொல்லுவோம், அந்த நாடி சுற்றி போகிற போல் நம்மளுடைய ஆக்ஞா சக்கரம் வரைக்கும் போகும். அதே போல் தமிழ்நாட்டில் இருக்கக்கூடிய கோவில்களில் ஒவ்வொரு சக்கரங்களுக்கும் ஒவ்வொரு கோயில் சொல்கிற வழக்கமும் உண்டு. மதுரை வந்து மூலாதார சக்கரமாகவும், திருவாரூர் மூலாதார சக்கரமாகவும், இதய பகுதி வந்து சிதம்பரமாகவும், காசி ஆக்ஞையாகவும், துவாதசாந்தம் மதுரை கோயிலாகவும் சொல்கிற வழக்கம் வந்து அங்கே இருக்குது. அப்படி ஒவ்வொரு கோயிலையும் நாம் போய் வழிபாடு பண்ணால் இன்னென்ன பலன்கள் கிடைக்கும் அப்படிங்கிறதையும் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. மிகச்சரியாக அவங்க சொன்னாங்க. அதை வியந்து நான் சொல்கிறதுக்கு தான் அவங்கள்ட்ட இருந்து இந்த ஒளி வாங்கிய மைக்கை வாங்கினேன். மிக்க நன்றி.
That's validated now, because Agama Shastras, they have read all this, they run hundreds of temples, and how important it is. See, so when you enter the temple next time, think that you are progressing spiritually. And he added that the Dwajastambham is like the spine. You know, we have this idea of this Kundalini Shakti. So on the spine also you will see that, you know, certain marks are made like this, the rising of the Kundalini. So Sushumna Nadi, they say. So that all is also the representation. So once you enter temple, remember now that you're entering a space which can elevate you spiritually. And every step you take within, as you go inside, you will get closer to your divine self. Of course, in one day it's not going to happen, but over several years of practice, you will attain that. We are building a temple here, Uma Maheshwara temple. It's being done exactly as per the Agama Shastras, Shaiva Shastras. And soon, I think by next year, halfway through the year, next year it will be ready. And there we are installing the Uma Maheshwara Swami with Parivar Devatas. And it's built exactly how it's supposed to be in Agama Shastras. So that will be a nice learning opportunity for everyone, including Indians and people from abroad. And maybe you can try and see whether you feel that way when you walk inside the temple. I had a vision of Uma Maheshwara Swami on a bull, that is Nandi. Swami Shiva sitting and with Parvati on his lap, and she is holding Kumara, and Shiva is holding Ganapati. Like this one vision had come. So with that we thought of building the temple. And this whole thing is Shiva Kshetra. Idu ella Shiva Kshetram. Nandishwara Kovil irukku. So this is all Shiva Kshetra. This whole thing is actually the embodiment of Shiva. This whole place is Shiva. And that is why, and this lingam is, we don't even know, thousands of years old. Might have changed over a period, but the history is like there was an ashram of Vishwamitra over here, very many years ago. And the first lingam here was installed by Sri Rama during his walk through the country. And he installed that Shivalingam, and after that several things happened. So this is a very ancient and very historic place, especially with Shiva's point of view. And we will definitely enjoy the temple which is coming up over here. And you all should practice this. As you walk, think that you are growing and elevating yourself from the lower ideas to the higher idea of divinity. And someday with this continuous practice, you will attain the self, the realization of Sahasrara. And with that, the whole world will become a heaven. That is what we are aiming at. So with that, we will close today. Today we have a musical recital by Ranjini and Gayatri sisters, and they will be performing now in a couple of minutes. So we'll come back after a break.
We will now have a short break for 10 minutes, after which we shall reconvene for the evening cultural program.